Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
The problem of bad roads is perfectly familiar to every motorist. Even large cities are not everywhere have a perfectly smooth surface. Due to the formed potholes, a huge number of cars regularly suffer. Their owners are forced to spend a lot of money on repair and restoration, purchase of new parts. Bad roads significantly accelerate the wear and tear of the car and reduce its resource. After being a victim of another pothole, some people's nerves are frayed. They want to file a complaint and demand compensation for the damage caused to them and their vehicles. The only question is how to file such a complaint, in what cases it can be done, and what to expect in such situations. The issue of pothole characteristics. It is important to realize that not every defect on the road can be complained about. Many appeals will be ignored completely, since there are certain regulations regarding damage to the road surface. If the potholes that caused the accident do not meet the allowable depth, width, and other parameters, you can safely file a complaint about such defects that the driver encountered on the road. By exceeding the regulated depth, width, and length, the defect is legally considered unacceptable. This gives you a chance to get compensation for the damage, or force the responsible parties to repair the damage. Here it is necessary to refer to GOSD. And to be more precise, to paragraph R 50,597-93. It clearly spells out the requirements for. Based on the information given in the GOSD, the pit is considered acceptable when its length does not exceed 15 centimeters, depth is not more than 5 centimeters, width up to 60 centimeters. If at least one of the above parameters is found to be less by even 0.5 centimeters, you cannot expect any compensation for damages in such a situation. This fact does not at all cancel the fact that you need to write a complaint. Understand, the damage will not magically become smaller. In a few weeks, or even days, it will reach its peak values, another car will suffer, and then it will be impossible to turn away from compensation. It is not worth waiting until the pit begins to comply with GOSD. It must be eliminated so that other motorists will not suffer. Where to turn? Next, it is necessary to understand where you can complain about bad roads. After all, many people want to express their dissatisfaction, but do not know where to write about all those bad roads that regularly provoke accidents and contribute to a significant increase in the operating cost of the vehicle. You can send your appeal to the traffic police. It is they who are obliged to control the current state of the road surface administration. Which one depends on the ownership of a particular section of the road. Housing and Communal Services, MC, or Housing and Communal Services, Rozpotrzebnadzor. Higher instance, which is usually addressed if the previous organizations have not done anything. Prosecutor's Office, Court. You don't want to take the case to court or the prosecutor's office. This is an unnecessary hassle and paperwork, which can drag on for weeks or even months. Usually, citizens turn to the traffic police or the administration. In this case, the choice of administration directly depends on the very belonging of the road, which can be regional, oblast, federal, municipal, city, private. It is necessary to find out in advance who is responsible for this section. Accordingly, they will be responsible for potholes on the roads. It cannot be that no one is assigned to the pit. Many people try to avoid responsibility by shifting the blame from instance to instance. Private toll roads are usually not a problem, as they are often of the highest quality. Potholes are very rare, and if they do appear, they are quickly repaired. This is not the case with other roads. It is generally accepted that the simplest and yet effective solution is to contact the traffic police. And you can even file a complaint online. In this case, you do not need to find out to whom this area belongs, who is responsible for the road, as well as who is responsible for solving the problem. The traffic police passes all this to the appropriate authorities, controls, and checks. In addition, the applicant receives a response to his or her application. Important details of the application. If you decide to write a statement, because the quality and condition of the road you are categorically not satisfied with, and you want to achieve a change in the situation for the better, you cannot do without a complaint. Having determined where you will address in connection with the fact that a large and potentially dangerous pothole has formed on the road, which may or has already led to an accident, it is necessary to enter some important details into the text of the appeal. To appeal and get the situation moving, include the following in the text: the exact location of the site or specific bump. If it is a city or other populated area, it is enough to specify the address with the house number if available. If we are talking about highways, then you can record the kilometer or data on the GPS system. The second option is preferable. Be sure to formulate the demand. It is the demand itself that must necessarily be present in the complaint. You can demand to take measures, to punish the guilty, to bring to administrative responsibility. It is allowed several demands at once, not just to eliminate the whole, but also to punish the one who allowed its formation and did not control the timely repair. Leave references to various normative documents, acts, and laws. If the application is supported by such records, it will significantly increase the chances that the case will be given, and the complaint will not go unheeded. Read also how to deal with bird droppings on the car and what it can be removed from the surface of the body. Just complain about the poor quality or the presence of a pit can be, but the result is unlikely to be achieved in this way. You need facts, demands, and arguments. Recommendations for filing a complaint. Having decided to complain about the pits that appeared on the roads, the first thing a citizen chooses where exactly he will apply. It is worth understanding that roads are divided into high-speed, courtyard, federal, rural, urban, etc. There is a classification depending on the supervision and care of a particular section. For a long time, this was a real problem. People knew how to write complaints, but they could not determine where to send them. No one wanted to take responsibility and sent it to other authorities. The search for those responsible and guilty sometimes reached a dead end. But now the situation has changed. It is enough to write a complaint to the traffic police, and further coordination and redirection will be their concern. They will easily determine who is responsible and on whose shoulders the issue of eliminating defects in the road surface should be placed. It is worth adding that according to GOSTU, the elimination of damage on city roads should be carried out within 10 days, and if it is a trunk road, it is given only 5 days. If the terms are violated and the damage is not eliminated, the motorist and a concerned citizen has the legal right to file a complaint. In this case, the fact of drawing up a complaint and its content plays a major role. The text should specify parameters and characteristics of the damage, location coordinates, close-up and general background photos. If you know, write down the organization that is responsible for the site, references to GOSD, and other regulatory legal documents. As practice shows, officials are not afraid of ordinary complaints, where citizens simply express their dissatisfaction. But when the application contains references to laws and GOSTs, it makes them move. They don't really want to contact people who know the laws. Sometimes it is much easier to send a crew and repair the road. If the problem was not eliminated within the allotted time, the work was done poorly, or the complaint was not answered, this is a good reason to appeal to a higher authority, namely in the prosecutor's office. The essence of the appeal remains the same. Only it is necessary to add a paragraph indicating that this or that organization did not pay attention to the problem, ignored it, or tried to solve it without ensuring proper quality. The court is considered to be the last instance. But in practice, we have not yet met any lawsuits that would be filed in court specifically in connection with the condition of roads. Usually this is possible when a driver gets into an accident and demands compensation, which the responsible services or insurance company does not want to pay. The power of a collective complaint. It is much better to write not a personal complaint about a bad road, but a collective one. It is much more effective and weighty, which has been repeatedly proven in practice. In fact, such an appeal in text and content is no different from a complaint filed by a single person. But here you must specify your demands and claims on behalf of the collective, not just one citizen. The text can be drawn up in any form. There is no established standard or sample for such cases. Also in the statement, specify all necessary, useful, and important details. Describe the damage itself. Attach photos. Here the key point is the signatures of those who decided to formalize a collective appeal. In order to create a resonance, To make those responsible move and do something, it is recommended to collect as many signatures as possible. The more signatures, the better. Online complaints. In the age of the internet, it is not even necessary to leave home to file a complaint. Yes, you will still have to take photos directly at the site of a pothole or other road defect. But there is no need to go to offices or stand in line in different organizations and instances. Almost everywhere there are websites of city administrations, where there are probably sections for appeals and complaints. But in reality, it is easiest and most convenient to apply through the official website of the traffic police. This resource has a separate section created for citizens to submit their complaints and appeals. The electronic form is easy to fill out. It is only necessary to log in, write down the details according to the points of the form, select the region, and describe the problem itself. In addition to the electronic complaint, you can attach various photographic materials, copies of certificates, conclusions of expertise, acts, and other documents. For residents of St. Petersburg and Moscow, there are additional opportunities to address in connection with bad roads. In addition to the traffic police website, they can write complaints through the portals of Moscow Roads and Lenivtotor. As for the consideration of the appeal, the law gives 30 days for this. The record is kept from the day when the application was registered. Here it is also more convenient to submit online. In some cases, consideration is postponed for up to 30 days. But if this happens, the citizen must be notified with an explanation of the reason for postponement. Read also, how to choose shoes suitable for the driver complaint when the roads are not cleaned. Many people wonder whether it is possible to complain in situations where it is not about defects or pits, but the roads are simply not cleaned. Every motorist, and even pedestrians, know from experience how much snowfalls in winter complicate life and interfere with normal movement. Due to the fact that the roads remain uncleared, snow piles up sidewalks and parking lots. It sometimes literally paralyzes traffic, prevents pedestrians from reaching their destination, and completely stops the movement of vehicles. To file a complaint about the fact that the roads are not cleaned, you can. And sometimes it is even necessary. It is done through various instances and organizations. If the problem is observed on domestic roads, then it is necessary to address the management of management companies or property owners associations. If these are city roads, then the responsibility falls on the city administration or specific farms, depending on the district and address. At the same time, citizens have the legal right to address such issue through the traffic police, regardless of the territorial reference of the problematic road section. It should be taken into account that in such situations the traffic police should not be perceived as an executive body. That is, the inspectors are not obliged to come out with shovels and brooms, clearing the road for you. They are a supervisory body. They are obliged to track the submitted applications, redirect them to the responsible organizations, and control the implementation. What to do in case of an accident due to a pothole. Another motorist needs to understand what to do if he hit a hole in the road and suffered because of this. In such a situation, you should call the traffic police inspectors, since the situation is qualified as a traffic accident. Usually, when the injured driver reports an accident due to a hole, defect, or unevenness on the road, he asks to make a scheme of the accident and then come to the department. If the squad will not be sent to you, then proceed as follows. Find at least 2 witnesses. Not all drivers willingly agree, but there are some who will support you in a difficult situation. Describe in detail the place and location of the defect. Fix the name of the street, house numbers, intersections, etc. If it is a highway, GPS coordinates will suffice. Gather evidence that the pit is not within the GOSD. This requires taking photos and videos. It is desirable to take pictures while attaching a ruler or tape measure to the defect, or attach another visual object of standard shape, such as a matchbox, so that the scale of the damage can be seen on the photo record. The damage sustained by the car as a result of hitting the pothole, indicating it in the text of the accident diagram, as well as taking pictures with a camera or phone. Witnesses should sign at the end of the scheme, thus confirming that the information is true. Then go to the department of the traffic police and make a certificate about the accident on the road. Be sure to emphasize and insist that it was impossible to bypass the defect. You can refer to the markings, oncoming traffic, interference in the form of vehicles ahead, the presence of water in the hole, because of which it was impossible to assess its depth, and so on. Having received the certificate, it is possible to deal with the issue of compensation for damage. Here it is necessary to find out the address of the authority that maintains this road section. You can get the relevant information through the traffic police, or by contacting the administration of your settlement or the city where it happened. It is worth understanding that now road repairs are often carried out by tenders, which are organized by the administrations of cities and regions. As a result, the one who offers the lowest cost of their services wins. Because of this, responsible organizations are not always located exactly in your city. Invite an employee of the road administration or an independent expert to conduct an expert examination. The point is that road organizations are not always in a hurry to send their own expert. You will have to pay for the work of an independent expert, but sometimes it fully justifies itself. This will allow you to assess the damage and make claims for compensation based on documentary evidence. In an application to the responsible company, it is recommended to write about pretrial compensation. If the documents are drawn up perfectly, they will have great doubts about whether it is worth contacting you and trying to deal with the court, since the chances of your victory are very high. Sometimes it is possible to resolve all disputes without court and get deserved compensation for the repair and restoration of the car. If you do not want to return the money in the pretrial order, then you will have to go to the end. Motorists and ordinary citizens should pay attention to the condition of roads, write complaints, and collective appeals. Unfortunately, the situation is not changing for the better. Roads are a huge problem for Russians. Complaints allow at least somehow to force the services to repair and make roads. You should not think of your complaint as tattling. In this situation, you are not asking, but demanding what you are legally entitled to. And this is a very important psychological moment. In conclusion, addressing the issue of bad roads is essential for ensuring safety and improving our communities. By identifying the appropriate authorities, whether local government offices or transportation departments, and following the necessary steps to file a complaint, you can make your voice heard. Remember to gather relevant information, document your concerns clearly, and follow up on your complaint to ensure it receives the attention it deserves. Together, we can advocate for better infrastructure and pave the way for safer travel for everyone. Thank you for watching, and let's work towards smoother roads for all.